Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Welcome back to the Attacking Football pod. Today we're going to be talking about one-season wonders, and we've got three people to talk about it. So first up, we've got Scott to talk about his one-season wonder.
So I've gone with Luka Jovic, Real Madrid's Ronaldo replacement. At Frankfurt, he got 17 goals in 32 games in the Bundesliga. And then in the Europa League, he got like 10 goals in 14 games. So he had a pretty good record for them. And then Frankfurt, he was actually on loan from Benfica. So towards the end of that, 17-18, they activated his release clause, signed him on a permanent. And then just like 2 months later, they shipped him off to Real Madrid for 60 million euros. And then ever since, he's just never been the same. I think at Real Madrid, his first season, 27 games, only scored 2 goals. And I don't think in every season since, besides this year, he's not scored more than 10 across all competitions. I think this year he has 13 in 50 games, which is a pretty bad return for a striker.
He's at least he's active. He's still playing.
Yeah.
That Frankfurt team was so good as well. You had Sebastian Haller, Ante Rebic. You just had a lot of talented players in that team. And I think the thing is with Jovic, he just made the wrong decision to go to Real Madrid. He could have gone to a number of different sides rather than Real Madrid and not been challenging for places with Benzema, Ronaldo. And I think that could have been the issue for him.
It's fascinating because Real Madrid made some interesting moves during that period. They also signed Mariano, gave him the number 7 after Ronaldo.
Just released him as well.
Yeah. And on one hand, like clearly these players were talents, but I don't think anyone thought they were good enough to replace these players. It's not like what you see they're doing now by going for Rodrigo and Vinny Jr. And that other kid Endrick, where like clearly they could be world class talents. Yeah. But like no one ever looked at Mariano or maybe Jovic at his like when he was really on fire, but like he was also 23, 24. So like it was just strange moves, but you know.
I think the point that we can say from this here is that all of these players, they're one-season wonders, but some of them have become one-season wonders because of bad transfer decisions after. Yeah. My example, though, is a player that FPL players will know and love because he scored so many points in one season, and it's Michu. Michu came from Rayo Vallecano, and he had a 15-goal season before that. So maybe it's a bit harsh to call him a one-season wonder. But in the Premier League, he had one season where he looked like he could have been a 30, 40 million pound player at the time. And this was back in 2012, 2013. In that season, his first season at Swansea, he scored 18 goals in 35 games. What's really disappointing is injuries ruined him. In his second season, he only scored twice in 17 games and eventually retired at 31. Which is no age for a footballer to retire.
I had no idea he had retired.
Neither did I.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah.
It does highlight though like how injuries can absolutely kill a career. And I think one of the only ones to keep an eye out is Ansu Fati, who did his ACL and hasn't really come back the same. And I know from seeing some people on Barcelona, Twitter, I guess, they're kind of hoping he can make a shift toward the centre forward because he's lost that pace that he was known for. And it is really sad to see a player, especially with such talent, killed. Obviously, the other one is Royce too, where man, I thought that guy was going to come to United at his peak, but injuries make it impossible.
I think Michu is the epitome of a Premier League player who's come and have one amazing season, and then it just went to shit.
Yeah, I think I remember Michu for a completely different reason. I think because I'm a lot younger than you guys. I remember him from collecting match attacks rather than FPL.
Oh god,
you are a lot younger than me. I can't lie.
My parents.
I used to collect the Premier League stickers.
I don't know. My parents were on match attacks, but you know they didn't give me a lot of pocket money to get it for something like that. And one day I rocked up to my uncle, and he knew I was into it, and he gave me one of those tins, and I was like, I felt like I was at the top of the world. I felt like I had money to burn. Cracked open those tins, cracked open the packs. Got fucking nobody decent. Killed it. But at least I got a cool tin.
So moving on from Michu, Dan, who's yours?
It's Christian Piatek, the guy with the killer celebration. I remember at his peak, He had what? He was at Genoa, had 19 appearances, 13 goals. And in January, obviously AC Milan were like, this is the guy we need to get. When they were spending
We
money,
need goals.
they were going crazy. And for the other half season, he had another 18 appearances and got 9 goals. So honestly, a pretty good start. You know, about 10 goals either side, and it makes total sense that for AC, he kind of dropped off a bit. A new team half through the season, and then hasn't looked anywhere near as good. And I know, like last season, he was at Hertha Berlin, which is another story together. That's another podcast about their downfall, and got relegated. And then he's off to, is it Turkey or something like that?
Yeah, he's gone to Istanbul, Başakşehir. I may have butchered that name, but yeah.
I think you got that spot on, to be honest.
I'll take it. But yeah, he's racked up some fees as well. AC Milan spent 35 million on him as a Higuain replacement, and as well as that, Hertha Berlin spent 27 million for him to be their talisman striker, and I think it's just synonymous with how poor Hertha's recruitment has been over the last few years, because they've just done terribly with it. But yeah, he was a player that looked immense during that short spell at Genoa, and then he comes to AC Milan, continues that form for a short spell of time, and then it just went terribly.
It's like, I think if you look at a lot of those goals, he just got really lucky for a whole season. He must have made a deal with the devil, because he, even like a lot of those goals, they weren't like where he was just hitting them but having like great shots in great positions. He just got kind of lucky. And now, to be honest, he already racked up, made a boatload of cash. He's seen the world, so I don't blame him. But
I've seen Italy. Seen Poland, Italy, Germany, and now Turkey.
But beyond that, like maybe a bit, just to talk about Hertha, even had Matheus Cunha, who's now at Wolves, but was at Atletico Madrid, and he's also a decent player too. But it just highlights though that Hertha really just saw a flash in a pan, spent crazy money, and it was their downfall. And what I love is kind of the that kind of waging war between new and old football came to light in the War of Berlin, where Union came around through the smart transfer strategy, just park the bus defending, and have come away and are the team for Berlin. They were playing in the Europa League.
Yeah.
And they're going to get Champions League this season, which is, it's fascinating, and it's great to see though that in that war of just billionaires throwing money around and just a team being kind of smart, that Union came out winning.
To be fair, I always knew Hertha were going to go downhill when they hired Jurgen Klinsmann as a manager. So that's their own downfall.
They signed Stefan Jovetic as well, I think, as their main striker.
So, that's just injuries waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Scott, so moving on, then, who is your second player?
I'm not sure Arsenal fans will agree, but I'm going with Nicolas Pepe. He was at Lille, and the season before he signed for Arsenal, I think he was top goal scorer or something along the lines. He got 33 goals and assists, 22 goals, 11 assists in 38 games. Like that's Mohamed Salah type numbers on the wing that he was putting up. And then got signed by Arsenal for £72 million, and he just never hit the same type of numbers. There was one season, 2020-21, where he hit 10 goals in 28 games, which I think has been his best season for Arsenal. But yeah, he's just never hit the numbers of 33 goals and assists since.
He was a set piece merchant when they signed him. They signed him from Lille. He scored so many set pieces, whether it was penalties or whether it was free kicks. Every free kick he had from like the edge of the area, it looked like it was going to go in. And they signed him for such a large fee when they could have got Wilfried Zaha. And they decided to just go, Crystal Palace, you can do one. We're not paying you the money that you want. We're going to sign this player who turned out to be one of the biggest flops in Premier League history. And yet, Arsenal fans still defend him to a tilt online. I do not understand it. He was a terrible signing.
Was it that season or the season before where they also wanted to sign Thomas Lemar? It was the summer, and they signed Pepe in January, was it? And it was the same sort of numbers being thrown around. And it's funny because Lamar's gone to Atletico, and I think he's been converted to like a centre mid-esque player.
Yeah.
And it's like both players equally probably didn't rise to the promise they had. I'm not saying Lemar or Pepe is bad, but I think their price tag and what people expected from them was like world class and haven't reached it. And you gotta wonder during like Arsenal's recruitment at that time, it was really, really horrendous.
Bad.
Now,
Yeah.
I remember who was that guy that Arsenal had, Sven Mislintat, who everyone thought was the transfer guru, and then went to Arsenal, completely ruined his reputation. And I'm not sure where he's at now, but
probably crying into all those dollars he made playing purchasing players there, all the sly little backhanders. And the thing is as well, when you bring up somebody like Thomas Lemar, I never really saw it at Monaco, and when they spent so much money on him, it just seems a bit nuts. And now, if you're thinking about Lemar, you know, I sort of, when you mentioned Lemar, I thought of like the old UK singer rather than Thomas Lemar. That shows how much he's fallen off.
Yeah.
I think it was that same summer Arsenal wanted him. I think Liverpool put a bid in for about 70 million pounds. Then Arsenal bid 75 million, and they both got rejected by Monaco.
They got lucky. On the final, so I just seen here on the final day of the transfer window, Arsenal made a final offer of a 100 million euro bid.
Get out of town.
For Thomas Lemar. Wow, he's been a dud. Speaking about duds, we got the final one, and it's my one. So
I've got
gonna be good.
I've got a rogue show as well, so don't worry.
Okay, so there's another one. So my one is Amr Zaki. Some of you may remember him. Some of you, like Scott, may not have been old enough to remember him.
But I do not know.
Yeah. So he was an Egyptian talisman. He still is Egyptian, but he's not quite a talisman anymore. In his first 6 games for Wigan, he signed 5 goals in 6 games. And one of them was before Christmas, he scored 10 goals in total, including a wonder goal against Liverpool. So, Scott, you can go watch that because it's always nice to watch goals.
I've probably seen the goal.
Yeah.
I just don't know the player.
Yeah, but Wigan at the time, they signed him from Zamalek, and it just seemed like they had signed this wonder, like a world-class player from the depths of nowhere. Sorry to all the people from Egypt watching this and Zamalek fans, but they signed him pretty much no fanfare, and he just looked like a world-class talent. It was really funny because when they signed him, Dave Whelan likened him to Alan Shearer, and he says, when you look at this lad, you look at his build, he's the same confidence when he gets the ball. He knows where the goal is. He doesn't need to look up. He has the instinct. Striker like Gavin. I'm going to stop kind of do impressions ever again. Sorry about that. But yeah, essentially, he fluffed them up so much to make him seem class. But 10 goals before Christmas. Guess how many he scored after Christmas?
Like 5.
None.
You're spot on. He scored none.
Oh my days.
Yeah.
Not a penalty, nothing?
Nothing. He was terrible. But he is the antithesis of a one-season wonder. He is a half-season wonder.
Damn. Now, I don't think I'm going to beat that now. I don't think I'm going to beat that. But mine, it's a bit baity. I'm going to admit it. It's Patrick Bamford. Specifically in the Premier League, but you know, in the Championship, he did
You can tell you're Irish.
In the Championship, he did okay. He had 40+ appearances and 18 goals. But I remember seeing Leeds fans at the time saying he had missed a lot of chances. He is not a clinical finisher at all. Patrick Bamford's never been known for his clinical finishing anyway, but he came to the Premier League the season after, and in 38 appearances had 17 goals. Was in the top, I think he came 4th or 5th in the top goal scorers rankings. Like, clearly looking like a different man. And then it hasn't been the same since.
Injuries as well.
Oh, I know. Was it last season? Injuries crushed them.
And this.
Yeah. And this.
Yeah, like one. Yeah, he in his first season in the Premier League looked immense. As in, he got some assists as well. I think he had like 6 assists, 17 goals. This is just off the dome. I'm probably wrong, but he looked so good in terms of what he was able to do. He was such a talented player, and the thing is, he just created more chances and more chances. He was still profligate. In terms of XG, he put up some serious numbers. But since then, he has just missed chance after chance after chance. So I don't actually think it's that ridiculous to say that he's a one-season wonder. Because if you look at his history in the Premier League, he's had one season where he's had more than 3 or 4 goals, I think, out of 5.
I'll give you the numbers. He had 7 assists and 17 goals, which is insane for a forward.
I was 1 assist off.
In the season after, he had 9 appearances, which is obviously where he got injured. 2 goals, 2 goals, 2 assists, which is still it's okay. And then last season, 28 appearances, 4 goals, 2 assists, and ultimately Leeds got relegated because their ability to score goals completely disappeared, and the reliance on a player that not only was injured but had a record of not being clinical, you're asking for trouble. And ultimately they paid the worst price possible for a team, especially like Leeds. You get relegated, and that money.
This episode, I bet Leeds wish they found a 1 season wonder this season.